AFI, YouTube. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We are live everywhere. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I had a great weekend. It was busy, as they usually are, but it was a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We have the sex doctor. I'm just going to call you Sam, the sex doctor, on the ones and twos now, in for Stefan for the next couple of days. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. It's good being here.
And Mark Ronner, yeah, you too.
Well, nice to see you too.
You know what? Did you ever watch the show Good Times?
Of course, everybody did. It was the law.
Okay,
you had to.
I think of our relationship. It's like I'm James Evans and you're Willona.
I see that your self-esteem is plenty healthy.
And you too, Willona.
Yeah. Well, that's you learn something even after you've worked with people for years. Isn't that funny?
It is. And you too, Willona. I was listening to you, Mark, during the break, and you were talking about the State of the City address given earlier today by Mayor Karen Bass, and I wanted to start there. And I know that her popularity has sunk tremendously since the fires for a number of reasons. Some I think are justifiable reasons. Some I don't think are justifiable reasons. For example, if you want to blame her for all the fires and you're going to include Eaton Canyon, then you don't understand basic civics. That's not LA City. If you want to blame her for Palisades, absolutely. That's considered a part of LA City and other stuff. But she gave her State of the City address today. Can't play it all. It's more than an hour. And here's what I want to tell you about it. It's both important and unimportant. I can promise you nobody remembers what she said last year. I can promise you nobody remembers what Gavin Newsom said at the State of the State address last year, this year, 2 years ago, won't care next year. We don't remember. State of the Union, maybe a line at most. People don't remember because the content really doesn't matter. It only matters what we may feel about their administration when all is said and done, whenever they try to implement their policies, what have you. That's what matters. Because if you're a supporter, you're okay with whatever they say, the State of the City or State of the State, State of the Union. And if you're not going to be satisfied. But here is some of what I thought was somewhat relevant audio from earlier today. This is Mayor Bass starting off the State of the City address.
We come together in these chambers just over 100 days after a natural disaster, a firestorm that also reminds us of how the world can change in an instant. The aftermath of this disaster weighs on our city, which already had huge challenges before us. We feel it every day. The strain of the housing crisis, the tragedy of the homelessness crisis. We worry about public safety, the unpredictability of our streets. We worry about a changing climate that brings increasing weather extremes. And we worry about rising costs and economic uncertainty. But I want you to know that I see it. We are not here to gloss over difficulties. We are here to make them heads on and to make real change.
Platitude, 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 applause, platitude, platitude, applause, platitude, applause. That's how it usually goes. Here's more when she gets into the fires and Palisades, more specifically, where she wants to take a victory lap.
Today, in reporting on the state of our city, I report to Los Angeles that the recovery in the Palisades is on track to be the fastest in California history.
Here's the victory lap.
And we're not just moving fast to move fast. We know the faster we can rebuild, the faster we can heal. We still have a long way to go. And for those who have lost a home, each and every day is a day too long, right? We want to be fast, we want to be safe, and we want to be resilient. So let me just tell you, we have issued permits to rebuild twice as fast as after the Camp and Woolsey fires. We restored water nearly a year and a half faster than after the Camp fire. And we restored power in just 2 months. Los Angeles, I assure you, rebuilding is underway.
I don't know if anyone remembers that or cares about it. If you should be someone who lives in Altadena, and yes, that's LA County, not LA City. This doesn't mean anything. This doesn't move you. I don't know if you live in the Palisades, whether this moves you, but these events, these State of the City, State of the State, State of the Union, it's not uncommon for politicians to use it to somehow tout their successes and run their victory laps. Here is Mayor Bass on homelessness and also the budget.
In 2016, voters approved Measure HHH to build 10,000 units of housing. At the time, LA had about 25,000 unhoused residents. But by the time I took office, less than 2.5 years ago, that number had grown to more than 46,000 unhoused Angelenos. On my first day in office, I declared a state of emergency on homelessness, specifically to inject disruption and change to fix the broken system. This includes systematically confronting old, outdated policies that actually stop people from being housed. Listen to this.
Okay.
People living in a tent, people who had nothing, actually had to prove that they were poor before they were eligible for housing. So I want to know, how do you prove no income? How do you prove nothing? So we fought, and Washington removed that barrier. Here's another one. If veterans, heroes who fought for our country, received disability checks, they were told they made too much money and were not eligible for veteran housing vouchers. So we mobilized. We took more than 50 mayors to Washington, D.C., and we fought, and Washington removed that barrier. The result is, for the first time, we have secured housing vouchers for every homeless veteran in LA.
There's some of the audio for what it's worth. Mark Ronner, you had played some of the budgetary portion of her message today. And in short, she basically said, we're going to have to lay off a lot of people, right?
Well, the number is 1,600, but she apparently is also going to try not to by asking for money from the state. Now, based on your translation, platitude, I think you could have just played audio from Charlie Brown's teacher in the cartoons.
Pretty much. She would have 3 or 4 sentences in her cadence, and then they'd have the applause, the obligatory applause. The room wasn't that big. That's why you could hear every individual person clapping, it seemed like. It was a small room of maybe like 100 people in there, it seemed like. And most of it were city officials that she would introduce, like Sheriff Jim McDonald and others. They stand up, they'd applause, sit down, stand up, another person, applause, introduce members of the city council. It didn't need to be an hour and 20 minutes, but that's about how long she spoke.
I see. Well, I think wah, 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 wah. I think that would have been a very effective message as well.
Yeah, this is just my personal preference. I am not a fan of her speaking style. It's very slow. It's very stilted. It doesn't really move anyone. I don't think that's one of her strong suits. I say that because I think that dilutes a lot of her message. And people, look, I can't even remember what she said in the first clip I played.
No, you can say that about a lot of people who go into politics and news, too, for that matter. They stop speaking like normal people.
Well, she's going to have to do something a little bit more abnormal to turn around the perception of her and her administration. Does that mean that she's going to be recalled? No. Does that mean that she's going to have any problem if she were in her reelection bid? Probably not. But there are things that she can do to improve her station with voters and also, I guess, how people view her and perceive her. There's work that still needs to be done, not only in her administration, but in the city of Los Angeles. It's later with Mo Kelly. When we come back, Michael Monks is going to join us from the iHeartRadio downtown LA studios. There is a new survey regarding Metro as far as how riders feel about Metro. And also Metro may allow you, and I say allow because they for whatever reason, they didn't want us to, be able to go directly to LAX sometime soon. We'll talk about that with Michael Monks next.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Let's talk to KFI's own Michael Monks about the latest that we've learned about LA Metro. Michael, how are you this evening?
Hey, good evening, Mo. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I don't know what to think about this information that I'm getting ready to share with you and everyone else. Did you know an overwhelming majority of people in LA say they don't feel safe while riding Metro? This is according to a report by Crosstown. And a report cited a June 2024 survey conducted by USC researchers, which found that 84% of LA residents think the Metro trains are unsafe. And the report also found that there was a 15.5% decrease in violent crimes per transit rider from 2023 to 2024. 15% decrease. And that arrests for trespassing crimes went up 177% in 2024 compared to 2023. Michael, my question to you, so we don't get too bogged down in minutiae, is any of this really surprising?
Well, think about what happened last year on the Metro system. Does any one word come to mind as it relates to security and law enforcement?
Mm-hmm.
How about surge?
Right.
That was the word we were using all year. You heard it from Mayor Karen Bass. You heard it from Metro. You heard it from the Metro board, county supervisors, and those sorts. Because after a woman lost her life on the B line train, the red line train, if you will, people said, look, this is not a safe system. You've got to do something. And so there was a series of violent crimes, and the muckety mucks decided that, hey, maybe we should do a better job policing this situation. And so they flooded the stations and the trains and the buses with armed police, security guards, and more ambassadors. So one, it creates a sense of safety. And two, when crimes are happening and there's someone there to catch you or to have it reported to, you see higher reports of crime. And so that's what we're seeing here. These numbers reported in 2024 are significantly higher than they were the year before, and even higher than they were in the years before that. That's what happens when there's law enforcement to catch this antisocial behavior.
Hopefully, a positive trend will continue, but still, I've said any number of times on this show that safety is a feeling. You can't stats your way out of it. People have to feel as if they are safer, or at least less unsafe, if that makes any sense. And I don't know if Metro has done a good job either explaining that or demonstrating that people are safer. I don't see that, and I don't necessarily think, given this report, that people feel that.
No, you're exactly right, because these numbers reflect something that we can quantify: trespassing, assault, drug use, and that sort of thing. But what do you report, and how does Metro or even news organization tabulate a guy having a meltdown on the train, a guy screaming, a guy having some sort of psychotic episode while I'm trying to enjoy this commute?
Which may not be reported either.
It may not be reported at all. That's exactly right. And this surge has died down, by the way. Now we're back into a position where it's the typical amount of law enforcement. And this is a large system that goes all across LA County. So there are LAPD, there's sheriff's deputies, there are Long Beach police officers that are patrolling these trains until Metro stands up its own police force, which it decided it will do. That won't happen until after the Olympics, though. So we're going to possibly see some fluctuation in these stats, because goodness knows the type of folks that are committing these crimes, they do tend to be homeless people, drug addicts. They haven't gone anywhere. They're still around on the system. And as it relates to perception, in this report from Crosstown that you're talking about that analyzes the amount of crime and people's feelings, they quote Metro. Metro insists that public perception of the rail experience has improved as a result of the increased police presence measured by a Metro-led rider survey. But here's the kicker. The transit system did not provide that survey to Crosstown. Now, if it's good news, why not give it to us?
Right.
And that's something that you've dealt with. It's something that I've dealt with. Metro's communication strategy has been very strange. You know, they're very sensitive to criticism. But even when you have something that might reflect positively on the agency, why not hand it over? Why not let us measure those results and test them for ourselves?
Well, I always say don't try to make sense out of nonsense. Let me ask you about one other thing, Metro related, before I let you go, Michael Monks. It's been about 45 years, tens of millions of dollars, and I don't know how many meetings have transpired in between. But Metro has expanded over those 45 years, but not to LAX. And this has been another one of my pet peeves. One of the things I just don't understand. Now, there are two different projects that are going on right now. They're still constructing the so-called people mover, which is going to take travelers to the airport, and Metro is extending the K line, but it's not done yet. Why has there been seemingly this desire to drag its feet and not connect the Metro to the airport?
Well, it is a priority project that has been delayed. Unfortunately, some of the reporting we did last year on this is that there were disputes between the airport board and the contractor, and the price of this thing has escalated. I mean, this thing had to be adjudicated, and so they are moving forward on this. It's just not ready yet. And look, what I often tell people as someone who uses Metro, I live downtown, I live in the center of the system, so I can branch out into any direction that I want to. On paper, this is a great system for the most part. And if it's not great yet, it's got plans in the works. There are shovels in the ground to make it a pretty great system. But it all comes down to why you would use it. And if you ever have an experience on there where you feel unsafe, there's a good chance you'll never get back on there again, especially if you're seeing reports time after time that something bad has happened, or that it smells bad, or that it's uncomfortable, or that it's not on time.
What do you mean, or? How about and?
Yeah, or. It's a lot of pressure facing the system, but it requires leaders who acknowledge that the problems facing our society are pretty deep, and they require more than kid gloves.
Michael Monks, thank you so much for staying on this story. And, of course, we will be calling on you again in the future.
I hope you will, Mo. Thanks a lot.
Have a good evening. When we come back, we're going to tell you about a California mayor who says he has the answer to at least his city's homelessness, and it is fentanyl. We'll tell you about it next. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on the iHeartRadio app, and we're live on YouTube right now. KFI AM 640.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
We're live on YouTube and the iHeartRadio app. Last segment, we were talking about Metro and how people felt generally unsafe on the Metro. In our YouTube chat at Mr. Mo Kelly, watching the video live stream, 93% of those following the live stream said that they don't feel safe on Metro, which is even higher than the report that we just talked about. So it's just not my opinion. It's not just the opinion of most writers. It's the opinion of the folks in the chat and just about everywhere else. We're going to continue to follow that story. And also, have you heard about the mayor in Lancaster? His name is Rex Paris. And Rex is getting in a little bit of trouble for his views regarding solving homelessness in Lancaster. Mark, I don't know if you know about this story, but Rex Paris is a different type of dude.
Different how, Mo?
Different in the way that he kind of just cuts through the rigmarole, and he says whatever's on his mind. And he was asked about homelessness and basically said, why don't we just go ahead and drug him to death?
The world loves a straight talker.
Yes, we do, it seems.
Yeah.
Here's what he had to say in a city council meeting, and he's been trying to clean it up ever since.
Homeless. It sounds like you want to kind of enclose all these homeless people in one territory. And
what I want to do is give them free fentanyl. I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl.
Do what?
Yeah.
I can't.
Do what? Do what?
And I don't.
What I want to do is
and
give
I
them
don't
free
think,
fentanyl. I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl. Yeah.
Do what? You want to do what?
I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do what?
I want to give them.
You want to do what?
We need one of those cartoon noises where the person shakes his head and goes, oh.
Do what?
I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl.
Free.
I can't understand what you're saying. You wanted to get them what?
I want to give them all the fentanyl they want. That's what I want.
That's what Mayor Paris had to say. And then Fox 11 reached out to him and wanted him to elaborate on what he had to say, whether he was being silly or whether he was being serious. And here's a little bit of what he did say.
I'm assuming you're talking about a meeting that occurred over a month and a half ago, where we were attempting to move the homeless population to a abandoned golf course and use it as a camping ground. And the people that lived near it were obviously not happy with that. During the course of the meeting, I think I did say that if it were up to me, I'd be giving them fentanyl.
Do what?
But I made it very clear I was talking about the criminal element that were let out of the prisons.
No, you didn't.
That have now become 40 to 45% of what's referred to as the homeless population.
Let's go back and check the audio. I don't think he was mentioning anything about crime and prisons. Do what?
I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl. You know?
Do what? I don't think that's what he said. Let's back up.
But talking about homeless, it sounds like you want to kind of enclose all these homeless people in one territory. And I don't.
What I want to do is give them free fentanyl. I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl.
Do what?
I can't understand what you're saying. You wanted to get them what?
I want to give them all the fentanyl they want. That's what I want.
That doesn't sound like because of crime, whatever. It just sounds like he's just being an a-hole.
Well, it is a heartfelt post-Easter message, I think.
Do what?
They are responsible for most of our robberies, most of our rapes, and at least half of our murders. There is nothing that we can do for these people.
Wow.
Lancaster has the most innovative homeless solutions of any city in America.
Do what?
We're very proud of it. We can take care of a lot of people. But I'm talking about the people that refuse those services.
It didn't sound like he was referring to those individuals. It didn't sound like it. That's just me.
It sounds like you want to kind of enclose all these homeless people in one territory. And I don't.
What I want to do is give them free fentanyl. I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl. You know?
I can't understand what you're saying. You wanted to get them what?
I want to give them all the fentanyl they want. That's what I want.
Twala, you talked to Mayor Paris on occasion, haven't you?
Yeah, a while ago.
Okay.
Booked him on with Tim Conway Jr. To talk about the Lancaster Fireworks Spectacular. And he seemed like a pretty sensible guy.
Wait, that's when they canceled it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were trying to move it around. Okay. And he was trying to do what he could do to get it back up and running. You know, I mean, he had plans.
Look, we all understand that we got to do something about the homelessness, okay? I know you can't throw money at it, but I'm not so sure you can throw fentanyl at it either.
Are you suggesting that ODing isn't the solution to the homeless problem?
I don't know what you're saying. Do I?
I'm more curious about all of the rapes and murders that are occurring in Lancaster.
And I don't.
What I want to do is give them free fentanyl. I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do what? Do what?
What? Do what?
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl. Yeah.
Wait, who's going to provide the free fentanyl? That's what I want to know. If we see this to its logical conclusion, who is the drug dealer here who is going to provide the free fentanyl if we take him at his word?
There are plenty of places already in existence in Lancaster that are cooking it up. So maybe he's suggesting that he gives them free reign and people can just go up almost like they're getting free lunches or something. They can go up and just get some fentanyl.
Free lunches? Do what?
I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl. Yeah.
I like his voice.
I can't understand what you're saying.
Oh, no. He'd be a great radio host.
His voice
Don't get me wrong.
Fantastic.
He's great radio voice. I just don't know how effective such a policy would be when the dead bodies start piling up.
Well, also, as Ricky Ricardo would have said, Lucy, fentanyl doesn't grow on trees.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl. Yeah.
I can't understand what you're saying. You wanted to get them what?
I want to give them all the fentanyl they want. That's what I want.
That's what he wants. He wants the best for his community. Can you really argue with that? Can you argue with the mayor who's saying, I want to put an end to this homelessness? They're responsible for the rapes. They're responsible for all the crime. They're responsible for the muggings. And if we just give them all free fentanyl, that'll be the end of it.
I mean, that's what I wanted.
Do what?
That's all. Do what? KFI AM 640 is later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. Oh, and I just want to let you know, for those who are watching our YouTube stream, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I suggest that you keep on watching. And if you haven't subscribed, you subscribe sooner than later, because we're going to be giving away Disney on Ice tickets this Wednesday. I don't know how many. In fact, I've asked. I just know that it's going to be some. Disney on Ice tickets we're giving away this Wednesday. But tell them, Twala.
You have to be watching the live stream, because you will be asked a question about something that's happening on the live stream.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl.
I can't understand what you're saying.
I can't understand what you're saying, Twala.
We're going to be giving away these Disney on Ice tickets. If you are watching, Mo will ask you a question about something that's happening during the duration of our live YouTube stream.
Do what?
And I don't think
free fentanyl. I mean, that's what I wanted.
Do what?
I want to give.
Do what?
Do what?
She's classic.
Oh, we're keeping her.
Classic.
She's a keeper.
Yeah.
Do what?
KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app and YouTube.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And if you're following us on YouTube, the chat is out of control right now, offering up their solutions for ending homelessness in Southern California. We've had suggestions that they should give them all a Grammy Award for Best New Artist, because we always know anyone who wins the Best New Artist Award disappears, never to be seen again. Or we should put them all a bus out to Palm Springs and leave them there. What did Palm Springs do to anybody, Carnisha? Why are they saying Palm Springs?
They're talking about deserts.
Well, Coachella, India's a desert.
But see, people keep going there for events. They're talking about in the middle of nowhere. Put them on a bus to the middle of nowhere.
What?
Yeah.
Instead of fentanyl?
I mean, that's what I wanted.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl.
He sounds like he is not only a video DJ, he's like Frankie Crocker from 1985.
He is.
Because that's what I want to do. I want to give them all fentanyl.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl.
Free fentanyl. And then people are laughing in the background. Like, I don't know if he was serious, but no one in the room thought he was serious.
And I don't.
What I want to do is
And
give
I
them
don't
free
think.
fentanyl. I mean, that's what I wanted.
Do what?
I want to give them free.
So, come again?
He almost sounds like Larry King.
He sounds like
Yes,
Ken
he does.
Nordine.
Yes.
Man.
Do you know
Yes.
Ken Nordine?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to place all the different voices. It's a bunch of voices that he sounds like, but he sounds like a radio and television professional. And if you're just tuning in, Rex Parris, the mayor of Lancaster, who's now famous thanks to me, he is advocating giving fentanyl to all the homeless people. So I guess they would OD?
But talking about homeless, it sounds like you want to kind of enclose all these homeless people in one time.
Did you hear how she gradually edged up to it and gave him an opportunity to clarify? Because she said, wait a minute, I think this guy is talking about having a bunch of homeless people OD on a drug, which is killing people left and right. And so she says, it sounds like, gives him an off-ramp. He does not take it. He does 90 in the fast lane with no passenger with
It
him.
sounds like you want to kind of enclose all these homeless people in one territory. And I don't.
What I want to do is
And
give
I don't
them free
think-
fentanyl. I mean, that's what I wanted.
Do what?
She's
Do
classic.
what? You want to do what? Did you just say what I think you just said and do what I think you want to do with the homeless people and just have them all OD on a toxic substance? Did you, as a elected official, really say that to me?
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl.
I can't understand what you're saying.
Oh, you understand exactly what he's saying. You
At
just
least-
want him to say it a third time.
At least he doesn't want to charge them. I mean, free fentanyl.
Wait,
It's
but
got to be cheaper
who,
than.
who is subsidizing this? Who? Gavin Newsom? I mean, who's going to give up the free fentanyl?
I guess
who's paying for this?
Some dealers
taxpayers
lose money. I mean, but what other options do we have? I know, Carnisha, is there any other options besides fentanyl in the chat?
No, there isn't.
See? No one has any better ideas than fentanyl.
We're going
Rex Paris may be onto something.
The future of Southern California is going to be dependent upon what comes up in the chat.
Yes.
I want to give them free fentanyl.
The people have spoken.
He leans into his microphone like a professional. I want to give them free fentanyl.
I want to give them free fentanyl.
Free fentanyl.
Did you hear him drag it out there? Free fentanyl.
I want to give them free fentanyl.
Free fentanyl.
I want to give them free fentanyl.
You know, I'm almost like kind of turned on how sexy he says it. I want to give him free fentanyl.
I wish he'd do an audiobook.
Oh, I'd listen to
or
it
even host a late night radio show.
He is a pro. You may not know Kevin Slow Jammin' James. He reminds me of Kevin Slow Jammin' James.
Yeah, he does.
Now that you mention it, he sounds a little bit like William Burroughs too, which I think is 100% appropriate.
Yeah, he's sexy.
I mean, that's what I want.
Do I?
I want to give them free fentanyl.
I think she's turned on too. Because she's like, oh my God. Did you really just say that?
She's momentarily stunned by his extraordinary human decency.
It's almost like he walked in the room with no clothes on. He said, do what?
She clutched her pearls. She definitely did.
Woo! Rex Paris for president.
What I want to do is
It's almost like he's talking to her. It's like, you know what I want to do to you. You know what? You know what I want to do, right? She, do what?
And I don't.
What I want to do is
and
give
I
them
don't
free
think,
fentanyl. I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do I?
I want to give them free fentanyl.
It sounds like it's almost like a metaphor.
Well, let's just be honest. Everything sounds better in that Barry White voice, right? Anything.
So you're right.
You could suggest anything, and it'd wash down a little bit easier that way.
That
you
is
said
true.
wash down?
That is true.
Let's just keep moving.
And I don't.
What I want to do is
and
give
I
them
don't
free
think,
fentanyl. I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do I?
I want to give them free fentanyl.
You know?
I,
And the laughter in the background makes it even better. They're not even upset that he said it. They're like entertained that he said it. She is the only one, bless her heart. She is the only one who's incredulous. She is the only one who's saying like, wait a minute, I need to figure out, are you serious, Mr. Mayor? Are you talking about intentionally overdosing people who are homeless?
Pretty much.
And I have people hitting me on text. I won't say who, but they're saying like, this guy's ballsy. I'd vote for him.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, look, he has a plan.
What's not to love?
Saying, what is Mayor Bass saying for homelessness? We're going to come up with more money. We're going to have a budget. We're going to plan. We're going to do this. We already lost all that money from the LA homeless budget. Give it to him for the fentanyl.
Speaking of budget, remember I was talking about how Karen Bass and her cadence makes it more difficult for people to buy in. Not that, it means that we believe her more or less, but it's like, wah, 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 just like Mark Ronner was saying. We listened to Rex Paris, listen to Mayor Bass talk about the budget.
Now, I know we all wish, that we could just focus on reductions in homelessness and crime and on the fastest recovery in our state's history. But the reality is, our city faces a more than an $800 million deficit. Cities like ours are going through challenging economic times across the nation.
Gosh, get to the point.
Turmoil and uncertainty from Washington and a slowing economy are causing lower revenue projections to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. Liability settlements have tripled from backed up lawsuits during the pandemic and uncapped damages. Combined with personnel costs, and of course, the fires and rebuilding all together, Los Angeles, we have a very difficult budget.
Give me more Rex Paris.
it sounds like you want to kind of enclose all these homeless people in one territory. And I don't.
What I want to do is give them free fentanyl. I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do I?
I want to give them free fentanyl.
I can't understand what you're saying. You wanted to get them what?
I want to give them all the fentanyl they want. That's what I want.
So you're right. I want to give you free fentanyl all night long. I do what? Rex Parrish for governor. KFI and YouTube. Y'all are missing it on YouTube, let me tell you. All right, here we go.
Need a second.
They got it on the news. Do what?
I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl. Yeah.
I can't understand what you're saying.
Yes, you can.
Oh, no.
Okay, I need a break. KFI 640 YouTube. We're live everywhere. Do what?
I mean, that's what I want to do.
Do what?
I want to give them free fentanyl. Yeah.
I can't understand what you're saying. You wanted to get them what?
I want to give them all the fentanyl they want.
The Vatican prepares for a new papacy as news of the passing of Pope Francis shocks the world. KFI is on it.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.